Hello, boozers, and welcome once again. Well, we're gonna have we're gonna have a fun time here, aren't we? Boy, are we ever! So, let's get this started, shall we? I've got this wonderful beer here that I've been drinking, and it is the New Level Tequila Bourbon Reaper, coming in at 9% alcohol by volume. Um, Wait for my review to come out for that. I'm not exactly going to get into it. I've just reviewed it, so we're going to have a sip, and then we're going to go talk about a few things. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children over the age of 18, 19, or 21, depending on where you live, welcome to one of the toughest times around that we're going to see in a very, very long time. All right, let's see if it's still frozen or not. This OBS, I tell you. Um, Sorry, let me check this. Okay. Second here. I'm trying. So, what the hell? Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Sorry, guys. Bear with me here. Bear with me. Stupid OBS. I've got it saying it's still streaming here. I've got that it's still showing up there. I think I'm okay. This stupid thing, I tell you, you go and change into a different window and it crashes on you. It stops streaming. Let's try this again. All right, so from the top, I know that we have a lot of issues going on. This is what's happening. We have a lot of people that have some concerns of what's happening here. Um, we are, as Albertans here, we are now under a state of local emergency, which means that they are shutting down places. They are making sure that a lot of places like recreation centers, public libraries, everything else under the sun is not going to be open to the public. So Calgary's been under a state of local emergency before Alberta actually stated it. Calgary has been starting to preemptively getting things going because of this word that we're not allowed saying on YouTube because they ban you for saying it, which is strangely odd. But um, because of what's going on in our social environment, that we're having to pretty much isolate ourselves, which sucks for a lot of small businesses. And it really, really, really sucks for a lot of small breweries. We've had such an influx of all these breweries that have come up that basically now they are scrambling to try and see what they can actually have to do to try and maintain themselves. Now, I'm sure there'll be some government leniencies and everything else like that to help make sure and maintain that they be able to stay open for the times that they actually have to close. But in an address today, strangely enough, I'm going to have to agree with him. And you guys, if you don't know me, I'm not a fan of our premier right now. He said to not only support local, but to go and buy off sales for breweries. And I totally agree with this. It's the only time you'll hear me say this, okay? So just if you want to play that back a few times after this is stopped going live, please feel free to. Um, I have a few friends in the brewery communities that are they're not panicked, In fact, they're understanding of what's going on and they want to make sure that everybody's safe. And I totally agree with this. Um, the hard part about this is that now that places are shutting down, there is a mild panic going on about things, and there has been a mild panic for going on for a while, hence why we can't find toilet paper. Thanks ever so much. Good thing I don't need to wipe my ass anytime soon. No, I've got enough that I actually stock up before this all happened. Um, but the fact that we have to reiterate that supporting local is something huge and big that we really should look at doing is something that it's kind of scary to see. The breweries, one brewery in fact, and I'm sure there's a lot more. I've been trying to keep up on all the brewery news, seeing one after the other, after the other, after the other, close down for the next so far 2 weeks and possibly beyond is kind of concerning in a way. Um, it's kind of scary and it's kind of unorthodox. Like we have never seen something like this happen before. We've never seen anything like this happen before, and it's kind of it's kind of scary to be honest. Yeah, there we go. But at the same point in time, we will be okay. I mean, this is something that'll be good. But I cannot stress enough about supporting local. This is something that we really need to do. To turn around to go and like for example, Outcast is saying they've got off sales and they will deliver within the Calgary region. You order by 2 p.m. on that day and they'll deliver it to you that night by 9 o'clock. They started at 4 o'clock, but with the outpouring of support, they oh excuse me, they bumped it down to 2 o'clock because they couldn't keep up with supply and demand. That's awesome to hear. Uh, there's been a lot of breweries that have closed down, and hopefully a lot of them can support and can get out of this to get rid of the last little bit of inventory to try and get through the next 2 weeks. A lot of these small breweries are mom and pop shops that are small, locally owned, and they've sank a lot of money into it in order to make sure that they can afford it. Um, if you missed what I said earlier, I was out in Vancouver and Victoria over the last weekend, and I got to tour around a couple of places. Um, when I was in Vancouver, I actually got to my favorite brewery, Twin Sails, and thankfully they weren't closed yet. I went over next door, and literally next door is Yellow Dog, um, and they were at capacity. They couldn't allow anybody in there. So people were going in and actually supporting their local brewery along Brewery Row, which was great to see. And I was in Twin Sails for at least an hour, hour and a half, and they Twin Sails was awesome, by the way. And I went in there and I bought a bunch of stuff, and it's presently coming back to me. Um, but I wanted to help out one way because I know that BC's a little further behind in the whole shutting down of breweries and everything and all the other local places at this point in time, um, which is kind of sad to see. But when I was over there, you could start to see a little bit of mild panic start to hit. It was one of those ones where people were getting to the point where they're trying to stock up. And it's understandable to stock up. I mean, right now, as it stands, I'm on a rotating schedule between going to work and staying at home. Because I work pretty much customer facing, I do have to be at work. Um, but we have enough people where we can do a rotation where we don't have to have everybody there. We actually have it where we can have someone working at home helping out while the other two are on the ground and helping out there. And because of the fact that we had notice given to us on Friday while I was away that we're asked to stay at home and work from home, it really does put things into perspective. Um, it really does make sure that you are trying to lower the curve, as they say. I know a lot of people and a lot of friends and family back home didn't quite understand this and were kind of a little upset with this, and I get it. I really do get it because it is something that is a huge change, and nobody likes change. It is a huge change that's going on within our society right now that people are like, well, why? I mean, the common flu kills this many people. Um, there was the bird flu, the pigs flu, the everything else flu. I'm surprised they didn't call this the bat flu because apparently that's where it stemmed from. But why we're taking such action right now in regards to this? We've had social media in the past that has given all these things. This is a big thing. Like seeing pictures of my hometown pretty much dead downtown is kind of scary. Seeing pictures of me, like I even asked if we were allowed to park in the underground because normally I take transit. We're supposed to be giving social social distance, is it? I can't remember the terminology from each other. That taking public transit is something that we shouldn't be doing. So I'm going to be driving down to work so that I don't have to take transit, train, or bus. As much as I still have a bus pass, it's coming out to one of those things where I don't have to do that or I can drive. Thankfully, gas prices in Alberta are at a premium low right now that basically it's easier to buy gas than it will be to buy beer from local shops. Uh, Supporting a lot of things. Like I went shopping today when I got back last night, and I went shopping today for food. There's no chicken in our local grocery store. No toilet paper, paper towels at a minimum. There's a lot of stuff that people are stocking up on, and this is fair. We are under possibly a 2 week quarantine or where they want you to stay at home. Okay. So I've got a comment here from review review face. I'm feeling bad for those bus drivers right now too, and I have to say I took a fair bit of public transits in the last 4 days. I flew twice and I took a ferry twice. Um, so when I flew, I actually spent the extra money and flew premium. So basically, there's two seats and a spot in between you where you put things. Um, Both myself and the person beside me wiped down all our stuff to make sure that we disinfected the area on the flight out and on the flight back too. Um, as well as that, when I was on the ferry, I didn't quite. So I kind of did something right, but I kind of didn't. On the ferry there, we took the buffet. Now, normally the buffet on the ferry in Vancouver, and cheers to you, Kent, as well. And when we took the ferry there, we went on the buffet. There wasn't a lot of people in there. In fact, there was all of 5 tables out of a possible 50 that were taken. Um, and that's fair. And yes, they say buffets, a lot of people touch the stuff and whatnot. You know what? There wasn't a lot of people there, and they were taking their things of rotating things out. They were doing that. which is good. And we stayed on that area of the ferry for the longest time. They actually have a lot of measures that they took. On the way back, we weren't so lucky because they actually closed down the buffet. So on the way back from Vancouver to Victoria, they shut down 4 ferry services. So they shut down the 2, the 4, the 6, and the 8. Um, so there was ferries every other hour, meaning that there was more people on those ferries than there would have been if they didn't shut that down. But they also shut down the buffet services on the ferries, so you actually had to be in and around people. And granted, a lot of those people that were on those ferries stayed in their vehicles. So you were kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type thing. We got there hoping for the 1 o'clock ferry on the way back, and we actually caught the 3 o'clock because we missed the ferry by about 10 cars. Yeah, it was that close to catch the ferry. But all the ferries from 11 to 7 o'clock at night were getting to be full because those other ferries that they canceled didn't take the extra people. So they weren't exactly practicing what a lot of people are doing, where you have 50% of the capacity going on. Granted, all the people that were not on the ferries, working on those ferries that were canceled, we're actually on the other ferries helping clean, maintain the cleanliness, and making sure everything was clean. Like, I was waiting at the ferry terminal, and there's people that were wandering back and forth every 10 minutes, wiping down the handles of doors and the rods and everything. Good afternoon, Vanessa Kitty. Good to see you as well. And it was quite interesting to see how they maintained the situation. We A lot of people have a lot of panic going on, and I get it. I personally feel the same way. I was kind of wondering, should I actually stay in Victoria for a longer period of time and not fly home? There was the discussion with my wife if I should or should not. But if that was the case, then I would actually have to ask to have my laptop sent to me, as well as everything else, so I can work from Victoria, because I don't know when I would be able to be allowed out of Victoria. With Alberta's state of emergency, we haven't cut off the borders, but there is kind of talk of it, which in a sense is kind of scary. And this is, again, reporting back to supporting local. Who can do it? I honestly feel that people should be doing that. Um, Around here, there's a lot of people being laid off. It's concerning because now it's going to choke out the public, or choke out our Canadian system for people collecting EI, because they've now stated that you can collect EI as of the day you were laid off, because this is something that is a major issue. Um, we will be able to test that around here in a few short hours. Not by me, but it's something that we have to contend with here. My wife being in the public sector, they have had to close down their business. Well, maybe. I don't know. They might have to close down their business, is what I'm thinking, because they're in the public sector. I really hope not, but who knows? Because there's a lot of places that are in the public sector that might have to close down. Like, where downtown Calgary is closed. Plain and simple, downtown Calgary is closed. Um, Everybody that can work from home was working from home. I'm working from home on a part-time basis. It's scary. I've seen so many reports from our local breweries that have stated they're closing down. I'm looking at, like, our the page that I follow a lot. the Beer Geeks page, where we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last 10 pages, or last 10 posts, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. The last 17, and it goes on. For the last 24 hours to 48 hours, I am looking at all these posts that is pretty much all closures. All closures, because we're trying to lower the curve. And that's fair. Um, yeah. My daughter's schools are both closed until whenever. And in fact, they're talking until September. Their schools are closed. Anyone who is in school will advance a grade. Anyone who's graduating, if they have enough credits, will go and graduate from there. It's kind of crazy. It really is. It's There's a lot of things going on, and as much as I like to say that it's not concerning, it can be. I just feel that a lot of things are going to happen, and again, I've got enough of these to last me for 2 weeks. Well, not exactly this one, but I got enough of those. They'll last me 2 weeks. I've got more coming to me because I may have spent a little bit of money while I was in Vancouver. And when I was over there, I had everything packed. So I had everything packed up the way I wanted to. I had my suitcase within the limits that I was able to take everything. And then my brother comes along and goes, "Hey, so my landlord dropped these off for you." And he dropped 2 cases of beer off for me. I looked at him and went, "I can't take those." He goes, "Well, you're going to have to try." Challenge accepted. And I did. It took me an hour, but I went reorganized my luggage, and I may or may not be abusing the Calgary or the Canada Post system to make sure that I get everything to me. I also have a 76 proof. If you haven't seen my posts on social media, I have a 76 let's try that again. I have a 76 ABV, which is 152 proof of absinthe from Vancouver Island. I could not turn that down. I mean, it was a small bottle for $47, but it's 152 proof. I'll let you think about that for a second. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having that beast of a alcohol. That's gonna be a fun one. So, yeah, there's a lot of things happening, and I wanted to go live here to say yes. By all means, support local, guys. This is a lot of stuff that we've got going on. We have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and a lot of fears of what we should and should not be doing. Um, there is a lot of things going back and forth. As you know, our prime minister has closed our borders except for the U.S. to everybody else so that we can get things going. Europe's doing the same. The states are doing the same. The concern for BC is that Washington State has the most cases in U.S. at this point in time, that they feel that the borders should be closed so that we don't have people coming up here. But that's up to them. Um, I feel that we're going to be in for a fun time, and whenever possible, I will go live. I'll hang out. I think it's time I hung out a little bit more, don't you? And we'll try and get as much as we can going here. Uh, I do have a few. I do have a vlog coming up that I kind of recorded, but with everything going on, I didn't do a lot of public vlogging while I was out. I did some stuff, so stay tuned for that. I do have a lot of other things coming up soon, so please bear with me while I get through all that too. I'm going to be. I've got my business where I want to try and get some pictures out and get those up so that I can get some income coming in because we need to get some more income in due to the fact that things are happening. So here's hoping that happens too. At this point in time, it is a trying time, but again, if your brewery, your local brewery, is offering delivery, skip the dishes, or anything else like that where you get their stuff, do it. Honestly, do it. Help support them, help maintain that they're able to have a living going on, and that after everything's said and done, that these folks will actually have a brewery to open up to you guys when the time comes where they're able to say, okay, open up again. It is a lot of stuff that we have going on, and it's great to see some of my Eastern friends going and buying a lot of stuff from their local breweries to make sure that they are supporting them, of course. Now, being a BCite, I still supported my BC breweries, but I'm also supporting my Alberta breweries too. So I suggest you guys do the same. Please feel free to comment about this down below. Um, for now, I'm going to go and edit some photos. Think about how many days I have working at home. And I'm going to work on a lot of things coming up soon. Again, sorry for the delays in the video that you'll see here because, yeah, OBS does not like when you switch over windows uh, to YouTube or anything else. So, unfortunately, I don't get a lot of options to do things. I was looking at upgrading my laptop, but that's been put on indefinite hold now, too. Until next time, folks, I am PK saying cheers, stay frosty, please don't panic. It will all be good. We will be back. I will be back with more stuff. I have got a ton of beers that I have to review. And I really support local, and I hope you guys do as well. We'll do what we can at Booze Reviews headquarters. And hopefully you guys do as well. I am going to go get my stuff done, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks again for joining. Thanks for dropping in and saying hi for everybody. And till next time, cheers.